Hello, and welcome. Hi, my name's Stuart. I'm from ERGOS, and I'm joined here by Paul from Ingram's today. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Stuart.
And we're talking Copilot. So, Paul, would you just like to introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do for Ingram's?
Of course. Thank you, Stuart. I'm Paul Cheeman. I'm from Ingram Micro Cloud. I'm what's called a partner development manager. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't what I wanted to do when I left school, but there we go. I've actually been in IT now for close to about 20 years.
Oh, brilliant.
And I actually, as I say, started with Ingram about 5-6 years ago, literally the day that Boris Johnson sent us back into our homes. 2 years, I actually never got to see anybody in person. So.
Oh, what a terrible time to start a new job.
Exactly.
Yeah. So can I just ask then, for people that haven't particularly heard, what is Copilot and how does that sit within the Microsoft 365 family?
Yeah, so Copilot in its purest form is an intuitive AI assistant. Copilot will effectively assist, inform, and allow you to expedite certain processes that are within your tenant. So, for instance, if you were looking at Word, if we're looking at Excel, etc., it will expedite certain tasks that you've asked it to do within those particular applications. And I think the overriding or overarching idea is that this will increase your productivity gains, so that you can get along, do all the things that you want to do, as opposed to the mundane tasks which are forcing you to slow down your work, having to get, we've all been there where we've spent 2-3 hours on an Excel spreadsheet. If Copilot can do that
Closed it without saving.
Exactly. If Copilot could do that for you and do that quicker, surely that's a good thing.
You know, if you listen to the press or you hear an awful lot out there about what these big corporates are doing, and they have sort of massive budgets and they're all investing in AI. But for us, that's not reality. You know, a lot of the business we work with are still owner-led or what you'd maybe class as SME businesses. And so do you have any suggestions of how one of these smaller businesses, maybe, you know, sort of 20 to 50 people, how would they benefit?
No, absolutely. And Copilot for 365 will integrate into your existing apps such as Excel, Word, Teams. And so if you think about it, whilst I'm sat here for the next 2 hours, I'm going to go back to, 30, 40 emails, 30 Teams messages. So if I've got an AI assistant that can help me when I go back to my computer and say, please, can we highlight the most prioritize all my emails, prioritize all my tasks that are ahead? That's going to put me a step of the game. I think the term that Microsoft uses, digital debt, and everybody has a certain amount of digital debt. But what Copilot does allows you to decrease the amount of time that is spent on these day-to-day tasks. And as I say, if I go back to my laptop after this meeting, Stuart, I'm going to have 30, 40 communications sent to me. And if I can prioritize those, get back to the ones which are urgent. On email, for instance, I could say, draft an email response to Stuart. It's those kind of tasks where Copilot comes into its own.
Digital debt. I haven't quite
digital debt, yeah.
heard it that way. I've heard it as a digital twin as well.
Exactly that.
Training through and essentially prioritising everything that you need to look at first. But also, it's right that you can start to train it a little bit with some of your personalities and some of your responses.
It's actually grounded in the web, but what it uses is something called Turbo ChatGPT. And what Turbo ChatGPT, along with the large language models, is understand how you work. So for the first couple of days of using Copilot, it's going to expedite certain processes, etc. But over time, as you rightly pointed out, it's going to learn how you work. It's going to mold the way that you work. I think, if I'm being completely honest, it's a change as well. I remember speaking to one of the first people within Ingram, how they're getting on with Copilot. And they actually said to me that it's a way of they need to be able to understand it better so that they can change the way that they're working. We've all been there. We've all got a PowerPoint that we need to put together, and we sat there with a blank sheet. If you could then say to Copilot, please draft me a PowerPoint on the recent meeting that I had with ERGOS, it's going to do it for you within seconds, as opposed to hours. So the productivity gains is the high priority for everybody, as I said from the onset, allowing us to be a bit more creative and do the things that we enjoy doing within our work time.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And note taking as well. I think that's, one of the, if you had a 3-hour meeting, you might also then have 4 or 5 hours of notes.
Exactly. We've all had that where, again, just going back to digital debt, where we've been invited to certain Teams calls and we can't attend. I'm on a call with Stuart, so I can't attend a particular Teams meeting. What Copilot allows you to do is send Copilot to that meeting, so it will look at all the actions from that, point out and summarise the meeting, so that you just have what was said in that meeting, what you need to prioritise, and the tasks that are put upon you. So again, huge amount of productivity gains.
That's really interesting. And I think what also people, and it's really just human nature, but people are scared of change. And there's also, as much as there is sort of the positivity about how productive we're all going to be, I think everybody's a bit scared about the new economy maybe and how it's going to affect us. Are there any sort of ways that you'd reassure business owners to maybe think about Copilot, and how's it safe?
Well, there's two elements, I suppose, to that. I think one of the things and one of the questions I get commonly asked is AI going to take my job?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to take your job. But one of the things I do counter that with is people that understand and are utilising AI potentially will you'll be better served if you understand AI when you next go to your next job. So that's one consideration. The other consideration is obviously the security. It is something which is top of mind for people. And what I would do to allay those security fears is just say that Copilot will not, or should I say Copilot will understand, and it will look at your current security posture, and it will respect that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if Stuart, you haven't got access to a certain file, let's say payroll is a good example. Yeah. If you currently don't have access to payroll files, Copilot will not circumvent security conditional accesses that are down there already. All it does is, if you have got access, it will find it quicker. Again, pointing out the productivity gains. If it's, it's in there somewhere, it's in a SharePoint file, you don't know quite where, but you know the document name, Copilot will find that for you a lot quicker.
Yeah, so if I was, for example, putting a proposal together for somebody, and I had a tone of voice document, and maybe I had our common SLAs and so service level agreements, I could type or start to feed the questions that the customer or potential customer is asking me. I could put those into Copilot, and it would just help me
form that document for you and find the relevant information that you need, but it finds it a lot quicker.
But if, for example, there was something about margins there or about our costs that I didn't have access to, it wouldn't put those in.
It won't circumvent it, and as I say, it will respect your current security posture that you've got in place.
So it's really good governance.
Exactly.
And the SharePoint permissions, for people of my generation, it was file permissions. It was about what map drives you had access to, but it's not anymore. It's what sites you were on, what you could access as your identity.
Exactly that. I think, I do like an analogy, and one of the best analogies I heard from Microsoft was, you wouldn't put a 4-year-old in a living room where there's a table full of hot drinks, there's a table full of, everything that could fall on this particular 4-year-old child. Yeah. And that's what Copilot is. It's looking around for everything, but if we can put in ways that can identify certain
stair gates.
Yeah, exactly.
Things on the corners of the tables.
Exactly that. And through Ingram and our partnership with ERGOS, what we can offer is a technical readiness assessment.
Okay,
what we will
that's interesting.
Yeah, what we will do is we'll look at the current security posture, make recommendations, basically giving you a RAG status on Copilot and say, these are the things which we're finding red, these are amber, these are green. Green, you're all good, you've got a business premium license, everything's in place, go and install and deploy Copilot. There may be some red or amber things on there where what we're saying is, before you deploy Copilot or the 4-year-old child, how about we deploy X, Y, Z into the security, so it gives you a bit more of a bit of comfort and knowing that Copilot's not going to see files that you don't want it to.
Excellent. And does that take long? Is there much? How technical do I need to be for that?
For the readiness assessment, it takes about a week. and what we will do is we'll produce a report, a detailed report of our findings.
Yeah.
But as I say, if that's something which, you've got somebody that's interested in deploying Copilot and want to understand more, I'll happily take that up with you,
Yeah,
Stuart.
no, I think that's a really, really good place to start. And just to clarify, you mean like an initial meeting, which is a couple of hours and then turn around within a week? You're not an actual week?
No, I think what we would do is we would jump on a call, understand, because I think it's all about business outcomes. Okay, so if you get two businesses aren't alike, so you might have one particular customer that's got 50 employees doing lots of admin tasks, but you're unsure of who can see what. That might take a little bit longer than somebody that's only a business owner that wants to install Copilot, knows their tenant better. So different people will want different things, but we do have a whole menu, if you like, of different options that are available, from technical readiness, from AI adoption, from the agents adoption. There is a whole host of different reports that we can offer.
That's really good. And I think that's a really good way to start, because I think a lot of business owners at the moment are thinking, okay, I can hear all of this fuss about AI. And the analogy I think about at the moment is the dot-com bubble, for those people who can remember being around at that time. And I think that's really quite key. There's all this potential out there at the moment, and we know that it's powerful, but people don't know how it's actually going to pan out
and benefit for. Yeah.
And there's the people that live on the bleeding edge of the curve, the big sort of corporate adopters that can throw loads of resources into this, but that's not really who we're talking to. And I think it's the people that are those smaller SME businesses who are thinking, actually, I've heard all about this, how do I use it? And I think what you're talking about there is the business cases. So it's come to ERGOS and talk to us a little bit. How I've had this idea and I'm thinking about how I could potentially use it, and then we'll flesh it out. So then we'll come and talk to our partners like Ingram's.
I think what we've termed it as is vision and value. As I said before, what are the business objectives? What is somebody looking to gain from adopting an AI tool?
Yeah.
If you think back to, about 3 years ago, everyone was talking about bring your own device to work.
Yeah.
Now it's bring your own service to work. So there's people out there that are using the free tools, the Geminis, the Chat GPT tools.
That are 5,
But do you want those people having access to certain information? I don't know. Probably not. And I would think for anybody that's seriously thinking about adopting Copilot and putting Copilot 365 into their tenant, I would suggest having a chat with you, Stuart, about a technical readiness assessment. The second thing I would consider is that there is Copilot chat, which is available. So if somebody goes onto their Teams, for instance, today, they will see on the bottom left-hand corner a little button that says Copilot. They can start using Copilot and understanding how it works. It is only grounded in the web, so it's only information that is web accessible, but it gives them the first kind of, if you like, flavour of adopting of Copilot. And then if it is a case that actually I'm interested in understanding more and how Copilot for 365 will benefit somebody, then it's then having a conversation about how that can be adopted and deployed and used better.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because the piece that I think you've really caught onto there is the control and the security for the organisation.
Yes.
Because if somebody comes in and they've bought their ChatGPT license, and it's only like 20 quid a month, I think, for personal use, and they start using that working within your organisation, and they give it access to Outlook or to Teams or to anything like that, the organisation hasn't got
control.
They don't know where that's going. And if you were to take something a bit more professional, like the business premium licenses, like the Copilot licenses, they belong to the organisation.
Exactly.
So if that member of staff moves on, that information stays with you. Whereas if they are using Gemini or ChatGPT or a personal license of any kind,
you don't know where that's going.
It leaves with the person, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely that. And so I mean, what I'm seeing with a lot of companies is that what they'll do is they'll set up a user group of five, 6 people within the business. People, and I would suggest people that are using a lot of Excel, a lot of Word, a lot of email. It's no point in giving it to a senior stakeholder that's is out of the business a lot of the time because they're not going to really see the benefit, right?
No.
It's the day-to-day kind of, I'd hate to use the term, but mundane tasks, the repeatable tasks.
They're using the system all the time.
And what I'm finding is people are setting up a proof of concept with these 5 people, 6 people within the business, with a view then if they do find they do see the productivity gains, then they will look to roll it out to the rest of the business. But if you have got businesses out there that you're speaking to, Stuart, that are a little bit hesitant, want to understand about their security posture, then maybe go down the technical readiness assessment first.
Yeah, no, that's really good, and I'd strongly advise people to get in touch, and we can set that up if you're interested. So, just moving on slightly, then around sort of misconceptions or myths. Is there anything that you'd like to put to bed while you're here?
I think probably the biggest one is one I've already mentioned: is will AI replace me?
Yeah,
it won't replace. It's not. I don't think it's been designed really to take people's jobs. It's just really there, as it says. It's a co-pilot, it's an assistant, or basically just making your work-life balance a little better so that you can concentrate on doing the things which you enjoy day to day, as opposed to open up an Excel document, putting together spreadsheets, let Copilot take the grunt of the work.
So that we can get onto the fun stuff, the creative, the art, the design.
Yeah, exactly that. So that would be one of the biggest myths that I hear. And hopefully I've debunked that.
No, thank you. We might be going back over our ground, but if we were talking about the readiness assessment, which I think is a really, really good idea, is there anything else that you might say to people if they're thinking about getting started?
As I say, for me, I've done this myself. Just jumped onto Teams and just started using Copilot Chat. That gives you a good understanding of how quickly it works. Recommendations. If I put onto Copilot now, tell me more about ERGOS, for instance, or my upcoming meeting with ERGOS, it will give me a high-level structured overview very quickly, and that way I'm not having to go onto websites, look at what your businesses do, etc., etc. But that's what Copilot will do. It will expedite these processes, expedite the time it takes to get certain documents. As I say, because then you start realising productivity gains, Stuart.
Oh, that's been really, really useful. I think it's something that hopefully is brought into people's minds that it's actually accessible. It's not as scary as we think it is.
Absolutely. And I think, as I said at the top of our discussion, we did see that initial team sprawl. I think that's what we're going to start experiencing now. Microsoft have got some wonderful facts about how 60-70% you'll see back in your productivity gains. You'll see that back in time. If you think about it, if you've got somebody that's I don't know, on a 30-40 grand a year, and they can save 2 hours a day on certain tasks, the return on investment is
it's immediate almost.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll see that return on investment within a month or so.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you for your time.
No problem at all. Thank you, Stuart.
To see you.
And you.
Cheers.